Hello, everybody. Welcome to Seventh Man Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kevin. We are back.
Oh, it's been a hot 2 minutes.
It's been a few minutes. Yeah,
it's not like
a few 7 months.
Yeah, it's not like we tried to make any videos in this time period.
You know, our editor, he hasn't been around. He's been, doing other shit.
Oh, man, that editor. We need to fire him.
That fucking editor.
Don't fire me. Please don't fire me. Okay. Guys, I'm eating Panda Express right now, but that's not what's important. What's important is that welcome back to Seventh Man Podcast. It is the school year now. So Kevin and I were just talking, and we're going to plan on posting 2 podcasts a week at the most.
Every Wednesday, every Sunday.
Yeah, if you don't get 2, you'll get 1 for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But, we're going to be doing basketball. We might do some other sports depending on, what the news is looking like.
Yeah, we'll see.
Excuse me. But right now we're going to talk about the Kings. Who else in the Kings? That's our team.
Yeah, I know. We know a lot about the Kings, and we're going to talk about our future right now. We're going to talk about what could happen in the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, start off, let's just start with best case scenario right here, okay?
All right, go for it.
So, best case,
meet my Pan Express.
This young core, I would say
Express, you owe me money.
I would say if 2 of our young players turn to all-stars, then I think that's about best case scenario. So, whether that be De'Aaron Fox has an outside shot at being an all-star. I don't think he will be, but I think he could be an all-star. He's one of the guys. Buddy Hield could turn to an all-star. I can definitely see that happening. Bogdan, probably not, but he's just one of the guys who could. Harry Giles, I think, is a really good shot. Marvin Bagley could, obviously we don't know anything yet, but there's potential there. There's a lot of raw potential. I don't think he's good right now, but I think he has the physical skills to maybe develop into an all-star. And then I think that's all the players we have who have a chance to become an all-star. So let's say 2 of those guys become an all-star.
Well, okay, hold on. So I think you're leaving one off. Kosta Koufis.
Kosta Koufis,
great
odds.
All-star. He's only 28. He's got great odds.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 45, like Vlade Divac. That's okay.
He looks like he's about 60.
No,
we love Kosta.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the money though. I think those players have chances in the near
all right,
future.
so say 2 of those players become all-stars, maybe 1 or 2 become other really good near all-star level players. For me, I think De'Aaron Fox, I don't think he'll ever be an all-star. Just because the kind of player he is, but I could definitely see him being a Mike Conley type, near all-star, very good, solid player who's 100%. A good defender who can run offense. So
I think Mike Conley's a good comparison.
Yeah,
a good comparison.
He's a better jump shot and he's a little bit less athletic, but in other ways he's similar. Mm-hmm. I think John Wall's another good comparison for De'Aaron Fox, but I mean that's his absolute highest upside, his best case.
Yeah, so I think you hit it on money with the players that could be all-stars in the coming years or the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't think the Kings are going to be great this season. We're always hopeful, but I mean, we're being honest for you guys. We don't think they're going to be great.
I care more about development and signs for the future than wins this year. If we win 26 games, but a couple of our players show progress into them maybe becoming an all-star, then I'm happy.
I think we'll win more than 26 games, but the thing is, when we were looking at my bookie the other day, my bookie had the Kings winning 26, 25 or something like that, or
25,
which was we were oh, I guess that's kind of right, but
I mean, we don't have really any really good players right now. Our best players are Buddy Hield, Bogdan, and those are our 2 best players right now. Maybe Zach Randolph, but he probably won't. Hopefully, he won't play that much because we don't really want him to.
Mm-hmm. So.
We're not in a winning situation right now, and the West is so good. There's so many teams.
The Kings division, besides the Suns.
The Suns are kind of good now too. The Suns should win 35 games.
Yeah, the Clippers I think are going to fall off now that the core of the team has kind of gone away.
40-ish games.
So if we're looking at the Kings. So the reason this podcast is to look at the Kings in the next coming year, we looked at what the Kings All-Stars could possibly be. Yeah. Now if we're looking at the growth of the team this season, so let's focus on this season first, then we can move down the line. Yeah. So, the Kings had the most salary cap space this past season. Yeah. With the exception of, I think it was the
Hawks had
and,
a lot.
I would say the Hawks and one.
But I mean, we had a lot of cap.
So, the Kings did the best possible thing they could do, which was absolutely fucking nothing. Yeah.
It was sound the cap really well.
It was so perfect for the Kings, and we know everyone's not a Kings fan, but this is just for our our own well-being. We just want to do this because we feel like we want to. Yeah. So, the Kings did the perfect scenario. Didn't do anything. Kind of just sat and let free agency sit out. And then I think they made one max offer. We signed Bielitsa. Yeah. We signed some people, which was good. Kind of just lower contract people because the cap wasn't super high anyways, or the luxury tax. So what we did is that the only max deal that we really, I think, offered was to Zach LaVine.
It wasn't max, but it was really high. It was a 4-year $80 million.
It was, I think, it wasn't a max deal, but I think it was
a super expensive deal.
It was the most the Kings could offer.
No, we had the capability to offer a max deal. We just didn't.
Not that the Kings.
Because we had like $33 million available.
Wasn't it the max that that Zach LaVine could sign?
No, he could have signed a max deal.
No, that was only his second year contract coming out for restricted free agent because he was restricted.
No, that was his restricted deal, but restricted free agents can sign max deals. Yeah, that
doesn't sound right.
It's a lower max than like veterans, but he could have signed like $130 million deal. Yeah,
well, I'm glad we didn't do.
Yeah, we're glad we didn't do that. I'm glad he went back to the Bulls. I think he's an overpaying. I think he was a great fit on our team.
Okay, well,
at that price, but all right. So let's move on to a kind of more realistic expectation for the future for the Kings. So I think that's being maybe one All-Star out of our young core, and most likely just a couple good players. Like I could see what the Grizzlies were 5 years ago. I think that could be the Kings' future. That being, we have a few good players, no studs, no championship chance, but we might make the playoffs a few times in the next 5 years. Or maybe 5 years from now, we could be like a 6 or 7 or 8 seed. I think that's the most likely expectation for the Kings right now, just based on we do have a lot of young players right now who have upside. It's just some of them probably won't hit, and then, I'm sure we'll do some dipshit trade or something.
Yeah,
so we'll trade someone away, or we'll do something dumb, or we'll make a bad signing.
So my prediction for the Kings this season is I think we're going to win either between 28 and 33 games. I think that's a pretty safe scenario for the Kings.
I think more or less.
Yeah, that's.
I would say 25.
That's fine.
25 students.
But when I'm looking at the Kings roster right now, we were just talking about it in the car. Actually, we have depth at 2 of the positions, and we don't have depth at like 3 of them. The small forward is where the Kings really lack.
Small forward is really bad for the Kings right now. All we have is Justin Jackson and what's his face?
Bjelica.
Bjelica is kind of good, and I think that was a good signing. I think he could help us win games right now, but it doesn't really matter.
The Kings don't have a big market over here, so the Bjelica was a good signing for the Kings.
We have all the Eastern Europeans on our team.
Yeah.
Vlade's got an Eastern European powerhouse coming over here.
Then again, I do think Bogdanovic, he was the MVP of the
EuroLeague.
Not that, just that, but also the European versus US the All-Star break.
Oh.
He won that one, so you got to showcase talent a little bit to the rest of the league because a lot of people don't know much about him besides the Kings fans.
Yeah.
But I think that Bogdan is probably going to play more 3 than anything this season, along with Jackson and Bjelica.
I think our end of game lineups, like our def lineup, if you want to. I mean, it's not going to be a def lineup, but our best lineup that we'll put on the end of games will be De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Bogdan out there together, all playing, because those are our 3 best, non-bigs. And then bigs, I don't even know who will be playing. There's so many guys. I think Harry Giles should play, because I think he'll be our best defender this year, but I don't know if he will.
So I was talking with someone about how I really think Dave Yeager is a good coach. I think he's done really good with the Kings with what he's been given.
Yeah.
And obviously it's up for debate. There's coaches I think are good and coaches I think aren't good. But
he's done everything he's could, I think.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think that he didn't do great last season was giving the correct lineup in the last few minutes of the game.
No.
I think that in times where he could have just kept subbing out or subbing Buddy and Justin Jackson into the game, because Justin's better at defense than Buddy is. That's a given.
Yeah.
That's why, it's part of the reason why we...
I don't know about that anymore.
No, that's 100%. No, Buddy's not great at defense.
Buddy's had some really clutch defensive plays.
So
he's good against steals.
Here's the only thing... I get that he gets steals, but I think that's because he's, quick hands.
Justin Jackson was awful at everything last year.
He wasn't awful at defense, but he's not a great shooter. He missed a lot of threes. So here's the thing. So every video I see of Buddy working out is never on defense. It's always on shooting, which is, just my argument for it. But, I hope he works better on defense because I want him to get better. So, but I think that he left Buddy a lot in the late games because he wanted points. But defense wins championships, and Justin Jackson would have been better. You could have kept subbing him in and out, and Dave Yeager's smart. He knows that. This season, he's going to have more of Iman Shumpert, I think, in the lineup. And then we'll have Shumpert Yogi Ferrell he's tiny, but he's a strong dude. He's a decent defender, and like he killed the Kings last season was driving to the hoop. He just would get M1s all the time. So hopefully he can come with the Kings and do that.
Remember when he had like that 1 week when he was on like the 10-day deal with the Mavericks where he had like a Lynn Sandy thing? It wasn't that good.
Exactly.
He had like 30 points for like 3 games in a row or something crazy like that. That was crazy.
Yeah, Yogi Ferrell was really good for fantasy last season.
I don't think he's that good of a player though.
I don't think he's a great player.
I think he's a backup point guard, which I'm kind of bummed that we signed him because you guys should probably know by now that I have a man crush on Frank Mason, and he might not get much playing time this year, which is what it is. So.
Yeah, it's fair.
I think Yogi Ferrell. He'll be a good backup.
So the strengths of the Kings right now are the point guard position and the shooting guard position. The not so strengths right now are the small forward and the center. So I want to before I go to the power forward because that's where I think the Kings are the strongest in my opinion.
We have the most upside at power forward.
I think the most upside, especially with the youth. But the thing is that the center position. Is not looking too hot for the Kings, and that's where
isn't a bad.
We said this last season too. I remember we talked about this. If you guys go back to the Kings podcast, we talked about how Willie Cauley-Stein. This is going to be the last season for the Kings. He had 2 years left on his contract. This is the last year on his contract. I think of his 4-year deal. So he's gonna get one last year with the Kings to attest because every year he's made tiny steps. But not big steps.
He's just so inconsistent. It's infuriating.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Literally, I'd say one game every 2 weeks, you could see him being an all-star. He looks like he's so good. He's a really strong offensive player when he's fully into it, and he rebounds, and he has such good defensive potential, and he makes amazing plays. But it's just 90% of the time when he's playing, it's not good. It's ugly. He doesn't rebound. He doesn't box out. He doesn't try on defense, and he just tries to shoot, which isn't his game.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that is his basketball IQ?
Probably. I think it's basketball IQ and motor. He's had motor concerns his whole career, and I don't think he consistently puts 100% effort in.
So
which sucks.
Here's where I put Kosta, Koufos, and Willie Cauley-Stein. I think I'm spot on the money with this. I'm not gonna lie. I think that they are exact opposites in certain areas. I think that Kosta has great basketball IQ. I think he lacks the motor skills, and I think he lacks the athleticism. Yeah. I think Cauley-Stein has terrible basketball IQ, and I think he has great athleticism. Yeah, that's definitely. why Coach has learned to balance those, which is great. Yeah. I commend Dave Yeager for that.
Kosta's pretty skilled.
He's skilled to an extent.
He's a very good inside scorer.
I think he's a good inside scorer, but I think he doesn't have great
no, he's not athletic at all.
Hand-eye coordination. Oh my gosh, but we can go on and on with this. But so the Kings really are going to be lacking in center. So I think in the offseason, what I would do is I would trade Zach Randolph.
He's not really tradable at this point.
He could be that because you never know with teams that are. I guess you could take George Hill for an example, but he's not. He's better than Zach Randolph is. Yeah. So I hope the Kings try to trade him and try to get someone back that's younger.
I doubt we'll get any value for him, honestly.
So we're gonna try to wrap this podcast up because we're gonna make this a short one because we're gonna try to get 2 out to you guys. Yeah. Now the last one I want to talk about for this season and moving forward is our power forward, and we named 4 of them. Yeah. We have 4 power forwards that have potential. If you Zach Randolph doesn't have potential because he's 38. We're gonna leave him out. We all know Zach Randolf.
I don't really think Scal has that much potential at this point. Honestly, I think he'll be a bad. So I think he'll be.
Scal's played 2 years, right?
2 years. He had maybe a month at the end of his rookie year after DeMarcus got traded where he looked really good and he showed the potential.
Last year he did.
He had a 30-point game against the Suns. I don't remember how many. It was 29 or 30 points. And for a little bit he looked really good, and then last year it was just nothing impressive. He has pieces to his game, but he's not an all-around player. I don't think he'll ever put together.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think that he's done the same thing as Willie. He's made steps each season. But then again, this is only his 3rd season coming up. That's true. Scal has worked a lot in the offseason. I've seen videos of him.
He's ripped, stronger. Which is okay. Honestly, when a guy gets ripped in the offseason, that is the kind of thing that can occasionally push someone over. True. That's why with Victor Oladipo last year, He didn't change anything in his game.
That's exactly
what... He just got an amazing shape.
It happened with Oladipo. It happened with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He got extremely muscular, and then, like, you just, like, changes your game to new heights. So
we'll see.
That's the epitome of the upside for Scott.
Yeah, this epitome of upside is...
So...
but I doubt it. I think that there's a reason we drafted Marvin Bagley. There's a reason we drafted Harry Giles. I don't think the Kings front office sees Scott Lavizie here. And I think Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley could both be all-stars.
Yeah.
I think Harry Giles right now, I think he's who we're really excited about.
Yeah. So
his defense is
what
awesome.
I was just about to offer is I think we should make a separate video just on Harry Giles.
Yeah, I'd be down.
And so I don't want to talk about him too much.
Yeah.
Because that would give us a chance to talk about him more.
Yeah. So let's talk about Marvin Bagley real quick.
You can talk about Bagley for a second.
All right.
I'm gonna munch on my food.
So Bagley. So when going into the draft, me and Chris both wanted Luka Doncic. But, everything that was coming out was saying the Kings like Bagley. The Kings are drafting Bagley. He had a good workout. He wanted to play here. So we both kind of accepted before the draft working with Bagley. And we didn't hate it as much as I saw a lot of people hate it. Like, I saw people freaking out, like, saying Bagley was awful. I'm like, I want to give him a chance at least. All right? And, I watched a lot of stuff from him in college. I watched some games. And he was a really good college player. And he's an awesome athlete. He tries hard, which I like. He's a good motor. He'll be a good rebounder in the NBA for sure. But there are some major concerns with him other than his athleticism and his motor, because those are his two best attributes. All right, offensively, he's really raw right now because he can only use his left hand. Like, literally, I don't think there's a single video of him attempting a right-handed layup or a right-handed anything. Like, it's bad. Like, he'll be driving from the right, and he does awkward left-handed layups just because he has to. And it gets really weird shot angles, and I feel like that would be pretty easy to game plan against as another team.
So you've talked about some negatives. What are some upsides to Bagley?
Upside, definitely. If he develops an offensive game, and he works on his defensive IQ, I think he'd definitely be an all-star. His body's awesome. He kind of reminds me of a Blake Griffin type athlete. Maybe a little bit a little bit quicker on his feet. He's a really good athlete, and I think he's all the potential to be an all-star. He's good hand-eye coordination and stuff. There's nothing about him physically that I have wrong. His body is so moldable.
Yeah.
It's just can he develop the skills necessary? Can he get an average jump shot? Blake Griffin has that. I feel like no one really realizes how big of a change Blake Griffin made in his jump shot. He went from being a 46% free throw shooter to now he shoots threes, and now he's a good free throw shooter, and he's a good mid-range. His improvement was so rare for someone who came in with no jump shot to turn that. So, can Bagley do that? Most likely no, but if he can, that's awesome. Mm. And then at that point, he could be a very valuable player.
All right. So, I'm going to give a comparison to Bagley.
Yeah.
I've kind of been doing this podcast, but I think it's worked out fairly well. So, I think that I think Bagley has, the reason we drafted him is because his offensive talent was there.
Yeah.
And he scored 15 points a game at Duke.
He scored 20.
In the tournament he scored 15, but during the regular season he scored 20.
Yeah.
But I think that he's got really good athleticism. His rebounding was really good.
He could be a 12 rebound guy.
His defense was not great. And that's the thing I really want. That's what scared him off, honestly, for me.
At this point, it's more defensive IQ than defensive skills, which is good at least.
I know, yeah, so
most of it's just bad decision making, which can be fixed. A lot of times it doesn't. That was the same thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. His defense hasn't gone any better in the NBA. He has all this. He's all the physical skills, but he just I think defensively, Karl-Anthony Towns is a good comparison for Marvin Bagley. Obviously not offensively, but he's someone who has all the tools and the skills to do it. He just has a bad defensive IQ and not the best motor defensively, and that's what's holding him back.
So
so I think that's what Bagley.
So let me give you my comparison.
Yeah.
My comparison, and let this sit for a second, okay? Because I think this is actually really solid.
Yeah.
So it's not that that he's a lefty. He's not playing in the league anymore, but Bagley's 6'10", right, or so.
Are you comparing him to who I think you're going to?
Say it. You're probably wrong.
You just tell me.
So
I have someone in mind, but
so I think right now, honestly, I think I'm gonna compare him to a Chris Bosh.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking you were going to say Kevin Garnett.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. He's not lefty.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's not lefty. Okay, no. Okay. Kevin Garnett's not even close. Okay, so let me tell you why I think
that's who I hear for Harry Giles a lot.
Isn't Chris... I'd never heard that. Never.
Harry Giles for Kevin Garnett?
No. No. Harry Giles for Chris Bosh.
Oh, no.
I think I've heard that. I don't like that.
Chris Bosh is a good shooter.
So, Chris Bosh... Okay, so Bagley's not a... He's a good scorer, a good shooter. He's got the athleticism. That's what Chris Bosh had when he came into the league and he was with the Raptors. He was so fucking good.
Chris Bosh was so good.
But what did Chris Bosh lack that he learned later on in the season when he was with the Heat and they won the championship? Defense. He learned how to win championships. Like, then again, it was like coaching and he had Dwayne Wade. He was so good. Oh, my gosh.
Chris Bosh is so fucking underrated for what he was. He was an amazing shooter. As a 6'11", he played such good. Oh my god, I love Chris
Bagley
Bosh.
could be this, all in fairness. So he's very young. I think he has a lot of upside. I think that I see him as a young Chris Bosh coming into the league. That's my comparison. I think it's up for debate, but I think it's not bad.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We didn't really talk much about the small forward, but there's not much to talk there.
Shit show.
But we're gonna talk about Harry Giles in the next video and what we think could be coming for him this season.
Yeah.
And
good stuff.
Oh, good stuff for sure. All right, guys, like and frickin' subscribe. Hit them bells. Ring them bells. It's Christmas, bitches.
All right, if you guys can comment, that'd be really awesome because we don't get a lot of comments. We'll totally respond and stuff. We just want to hear what you guys have to say.
Hey, our fucking editor needs to get on his shit. All right, later, guys.
Later.